Hello, cinema peeps. Spoilers ahead for Stranger Things season 4 and all the seasons. So if you don't want to be spoiled, go watch it, you silly billies.
Yeah.
Then come back, please, because we really need the watch time. So if you could come back, or just leave the video on play in the background and then come back. You know what I mean.
You know.
But anyways, let's get on to the video.
Woo!
Boom, 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 boom. I wouldn't even talk. That opening slaps.
Right?
Like, minimal, and it slaps so hard.
So
like,
good.
if we ever do, like, a top 10 best openers, like, that would for sure be on there.
Yeah. Dexter, Stranger Things, 100%.
Just fucking bops.
Turn around. Look at what you see.
Oh my god.
Hey, cinema peeps.
Hey, cinema peeps. I was so excited when that scene happened. I was like, oh, get ready. I was like, get fucking ready. Love it. Love it.
Oh, man.
Man, I'm so already eager to jump into it, but I guess, yeah.
Right? Well, we'll get the
Hello.
ball rolling. If you haven't guessed already, welcome to the Stranger Things episode of the podcast. We're so excited. You can see, actually, I've got the posters right up there.
Yeah, I don't have anything
Ta-da.
Stranger Things. Don't have a shirt or anything, so I had anything to wear. I guess I have red, right? Got red headphones, though,
you have
right?
red headphones. Perfect.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Close enough. But yeah, we made the goal to binge the first couple seasons before the new season came out.
Yeah.
Who, I don't know why the creators think I have unlimited time in the world.
That's why they released it on a Friday. They're like, you'll have the whole weekend.
Yeah, I had the whole weekend and I still didn't finish it.
I know, me too.
I guess my favorite part is because my brother was working like 6 a.m. shifts, so like I didn't want to keep him up too late.
Right, and that's the problem. Watching it with other people too, is you have to wait on their schedule as well. And
my God, I can't just watch it till like 4 a.m. by myself.
Right.
Like, but yeah, I think this new season definitely. I'm glad to have a little bit of breathing room, but holy Lord,
it's a lot.
They are just sucking that titty.
Oh yeah.
They are just sucking that titty dry. They're like,
Right?
oh, this is the last one?
Let's go, baby.
Let's fucking just pump this poor cow for all she's worth. My lord. I feel bad for Max's character because I agree with my brother. Out of everyone else, like, she didn't age too much.
Yeah, right?
So she's just got like a little bit of a sore thumb.
Right?
But,
Although I was kind of like, I
whatever.
mean, I love Max, and her outfits in this season so far have been like, true to character and stuff like that. But I felt like, I don't know if it's just, I don't know. I just feel like last season with the mall and stuff like that, like she looked a little more mature.
Yeah.
Her style kind of made her she didn't look as young, whereas like she looks like she's like younger in this season.
Yeah.
But could just be the choice in style.
Yeah.
Yes.
Listen, she's going through some shit, so she's
True.
just
Right?
begging her clothes. I don't want to look glam.
Yeah, she just wants to be comfortable.
Yeah, like we
Right?
all do. We all just want to be comfy.
Right.
But yeah, I don't even know where to start.
Well, did you enjoy it? I mean, you've watched up to episode 6, or sorry, episode 7. You haven't watched the last episode yet.
Correct. Hour 40 minutes, Duffer Brothers. I don't know why you think I have time to do that. You fools.
I have not seen. I'm only like 15 minutes into the episode 6. I was just watching it just before we started recording. So yeah, what do you think of it so far?
I mean, like, I'm enjoying it, but I'm also in the same boat where I'm like, why are these like an hour and 18 minutes?
Haven't they always been though?
I mean, to be fair, like, the finales are usually an hour.
Yeah.
And then the other ones, I think especially in season 1, they were between something like 44 to potentially 50 minutes long. So, I mean, yeah, I guess to be fair, they've always been longer episodes.
Yeah.
But it's weird. They do a good mix of where it's like you don't feel like an hour's passed.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as I just said earlier, I just feel like they're milking that titty. And I'm like, that's cool and all. But like a big thing why I like the mysteries, you know? So that's a big draw for me for Stranger Things. And when I'm learning to make a good fucking mystery, don't fucking drag that shit out. The longer you drag it out, like the less interested you become. You know, so I want them to get more into the Vecna's curse. I don't know, like I'm already like, how are these students connected to all these murders? Like,
yeah,
I just want, and like nobody is doing it, and I'm just like, can we fucking do that, please? But
yeah.
that's maybe it's just me, and
That
I just want
that
the
is
mystery to be
really
solved.
nerve wracking. Yeah, like when you build too much hype around something, it unfortunately will like raise the bar of expectations, and then if it doesn't like nail it in the end, it just kind of like falls flat, right?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Because I'll be honest, like, depending how long these next 2 episodes are, if they're fucking 2 hours long or some fucking bullshit,
yeah,
it's like, so I also heard someone else say, like, part 2 is going to have, like, another 7 episodes, which on one hand, I rolled my eyes to the back of my skull.
Yeah.
But at the same time, then it makes more sense to me than to cut it up into 2 halves. Otherwise, it's so uneven.
Yeah.
And bizarre. But, like, we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, we haven't even watched the finale, so, or at least of this part, so.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I think so far I am enjoying it. But like I said, I feel like they are milking that titty. They are milking that titty. Although the one thing, again, a big thing that I enjoy about Stranger Things is the fact that they do kind of have like 3 to 4 like separate stories kind of happening.
Yeah.
And it's really nice because then you're learning different parts of it, and then when all the characters come together, you're like, fuck yeah. You know? That's a big draw for me. But even like in the previous seasons, like it always felt natural why there was like, oh, like Hopper, Will, like in season 2, like maybe Hopper, Will, Mike, Bob, and Joyce, you know, they're at Hawkins' lab, you know, because Will's going through some shit. The other kids and Steve, you know, they're on their like all the adventures make sense.
Yeah, and you get to see characters interact with ones that they didn't get to interact with in the first season, so it adds a different dynamic.
Right? Whereas I feel like in season 4, I mean, especially with Nancy and Jonathan, like, give me a fucking break. That was when they were like, I think there's a problem in the relationship. Maybe it's like, no, this was clearly like the writers were like, nah, you guys aren't gonna see each other.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of annoying because they bring it up constantly, and I'm just like, oh my god.
Right? Well, I know that they were dating in real life, too, so I don't know if maybe...
I think they still are.
Are they still?
As far as I know. But they are very private people.
Yes.
So you never know.
Yes.
But I mean, I have enjoyed, you know, Nancy bonding with Robin, you know, and again, bonding with other characters that they wouldn't normally. It just, again, feels like that just felt very clearly like these 2 characters are separated.
Yeah.
You know? Whereas at least, like, I don't know. To be fair, I don't know how to naturally wove that into the story, but it felt like such a...
Well, that kind of has...
like...
I mean, since season 2, that's kind of been like the will they or won't they? Or like they've kind of been this on again, off again sort of thing. And then there's that, you know, underlying question in the back, like, oh, will Steve redeem himself? Will she and Nancy, or will he and Nancy get back together and stuff, right? So who knows?
I'll be real honest, Nancy don't need none of them.
No.
Nancy's gonna go off, be an independent woman, and find somebody else.
Right?
Because even, like, rewatching, like, the earlier seasons, like, I felt like I was definitely rooting for her and Jonathan, and now I'm like, am I?
Yeah.
Am I rooting for them? Like, especially because they have that line where it's like, we have shared trauma. It's like, that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's nice. And I mean, yeah, you'll forever be bonded, but does that mean a forever love bond?
Exactly, yeah. We haven't really seen much else past that. And yeah, like, I feel the same way. In the beginning, I was kind of like, I felt bad for Jonathan, and I was rooting for him, and obviously rooting for her too. And then, yeah, I don't know, Steve just stole the show for me, and I'm like, screw all that, Steve, like, Team Steve.
Right, but I also like Steve's journey.
Yeah.
You know? So again, like they have been hinting at it quite a lot this season of them, like, maybe they will, you know? But I kind of hope they don't.
Right?
You know? Like, Steve is just growing, and Nancy's growing, you know? And it's okay. Yes, they're their first loves, but that doesn't mean they have to be together forever.
Right?
You know?
And I like that, she hasn't, at least from what I can remember, she hasn't like fully seen his potential, but I like that he has kind of proven himself to her.
Yeah.
By, being the babysitter and like, kind of, protecting everybody. And he went from being the douchey jock to now he's he's the nerd now. Like he's more himself. Like he's just kind of, become a whole new person. So
I mean, that was one of the things I loved in season 1.
mm-hmm.
And even in season 1, like, I don't feel he was a douchebag, but obviously he was just, as we all are, fixated on coolness level,
Fitting
like, I
in,
don't want to
yeah.
hang out with the wrong crowd of people,
Yeah.
And then he genuinely, like, gets hurt, but then obviously does a really douchey thing by, spray painting the, or no, he didn't do it, but his fucking asshole friend. Oh my God. The entire season 1, I was rooting for those two to die. And I realize this is a bad
They have
thing
the
for me.
punchable faces.
No, I just want them to be murdered. And I realize Stranger Things does not help this, because any character I don't like, I'm like, where's the Demogorgon? Where's the Mind Flayer? Fucking kill them! Like, it's not healthy, but... But anyway, like, so his friend does it, but obviously Steve doesn't really stop him from doing it, But then you see him grow from that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he could have just gone down the line of, like, yeah, I'm, like you said, a fucking douchebag. But, no, he grew, and it was really nice to see.
Mm-hmm.
Although, again, speaking of season 1, so maybe I blocked this out of my memory from rewatching it. I didn't realize how much, like, they brought up Will's character about, like, being queer.
Right?
It's like a very uncomfortable level. I was like, okay, I get that, like, it was the 80s, like, we weren't very good at representation, and I get that something would happen, but it's like, do I need to see it?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they probably did it the best way possible, I guess, but, because, I mean, they could have said worse things, I guess, but.
Yeah.
And I just remember when we rewatched it, I was like, huh. I definitely blocked this out. I didn't remember this very much. Although, now in season
to be fair,
4,
it wasn't like an integral part of the story at the time, right? But clearly they've kind of woven it into his character.
But yeah, I've been noticing some interesting things in season 4 with Will.
Right?
And I'm like, what's happening here,
I know.
buddy?
I'm like, he's got a thing for Mike, doesn't he?
And I keep I was screaming at the TV. I was like, you can do better. Mike's being a little bitch. You can do better. Or who knows? Maybe they'll pull the rug under us. I don't fucking know.
Right?
Because, I mean, we still got that painting. And I swear to God. And, of course,
this mystery painting.
Right? We're not going to see it. I know we won't. And
Nope.
a fucking hour and 40 minutes that finale's going to be. We're not going to see that goddamn fucking painting. But me and my brother have some bets on what it is. I personally said that it was just going to be a lovely picture of oh my God. Where the fuck does this take place again? I already blacked out.
Hawkins?
It is, okay, Hawkins.
Yeah.
It's just going to be like them biking up the street or something. From like a pull-out shot. That's what I said. My brother said it'll probably be a lot of naked penises. But I don't think that's what... It'd be funny. But I don't think that's what it's going to be.
I don't know about that.
Again, I think Will can do better, but But yeah, I just thought that was an interesting detail, like rewatching that, and now season 4 giving us these kind of weird vibes. Or maybe he's just excited to see his friend. He's been away from him for a year.
Yeah.
He just wants to be with his buddy.
With his buddy, yep.
You never know.
You
That's
never
another
know.
thing I thought was kind of nice in season 4 right now, is that Steve, again, showing that he's grown as a character and that he's a good guy. He's still keeping Robin's secret from everybody.
Yeah.
Which I think is just so sweet.
Right?
He's just trying to protect her. I'm like, what a sweetie.
Yeah.
Although, oh my God, that scene where the fucking girl comes and starts singing, both me and my brother were like, is that the girl they were talking about in season 3? The singer? And then we're like, oh my God, it is!
Yeah.
And that's what I've noticed a lot in this season is like callbacks.
A lot of
from
callbacks,
previous
yeah.
seasons. So I definitely feel great that I rewatched it
Mm-hmm.
all again. So it's more fresh in my mind, because I don't think I would have caught on as easily.
Yeah.
Or be like, yeah, I think that's a thing that's happening.
Yeah, totally. No, totally.
I think that's a thing that's happening. I think it's happening.
I think so. Yeah.
I think that's happening.
I will say, like, the first episode of this season, and it's like that montage of like somebody doing a crossword puzzle and all these things, and I'm like, who's this? Oh no, it's that motherfucker. It's that guy again, and fuck, he's alive. And I'm like, no, son of a bitch.
Okay. It's not really much spoiler territory because it is in the trailer of season 4, but they show like the creature who they've called Vecna.
Yep.
In the show, but I was convinced that was going to be Brenner. I thought that was going to be him, but obviously, within a couple seconds of this first season, I was very wrong. But like, they also like didn't really explain how he came back. Like, I guess we're just supposed to assume, you know, because they do in season 1, right? He kind of like dies off screen.
Yeah.
So like, I
the
guess
the
that
Demogorgon jumps on him, so you assume he's dead.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I feel is a little dirty. But I guess that's what and that's why I kind of wanted to believe that like he was the bad, because to me it made sense, because maybe he is still alive, but obviously the Demogorgon has dragged people into the Upside Down, and so that's why I figured maybe that's how he ends up in the Upside Down and, you know, morphs into this weird, you know, slime monster guy with tentacles in his back.
This is true.
But, yeah, that was disproven right away. So that was fun. But again, slightly annoyed that he came back and we were just kind of have to accept it, I guess.
Right.
Season 2 was the snowball dance, and the Mind Flayer was watching over the school, which I made a note that they had picked such a creepy, like, that stalker song, but then it kind of makes sense.
The Sting
when it's
song?
like, right, but then it kind of makes sense that it's, you know, the Mind Flayer's watching them, so I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And that's
every time I hear that song
noticed.
now, that's what I think of.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But that was actually something I started picking up on too, as early as season 1, is their song choice.
Yeah.
And how like it fits in the show, and like, especially even though it did kind of get annoying that should I stay or should I go, like how well that worked into so many different scenes.
Yep.
I was like, wow, like you gotta appreciate like when, you know, you pick the right mute, because I mean you could have just picked, and I mean they're all like I was thinking the wrong word. They're all like not time sensitive, but it makes sense with the time periods.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know, to be that extra level of crafty, it's just like, I really appreciate that.
Right?
Like, wow.
There was an article I was reading not too long ago where they were saying, like, the difference between, or why, like, music choice is so important in certain movies, and why some flop and some do good. And they were saying, like, movies like The Batman, where the Nirvana song kind of, like, carries the whole vibe of the movie, and same thing with something like this, where, you know, it's selected carefully to the point where it's not, like, overdone and like it kind of cheeses up the story. It's just, it's a subtle, you know, classic song people can kind of vibe to, and it carries along the story. Whereas, like, I mean, it's unfortunate that in the article they compared the Adam Project, which is directed by Sean Levy, who also directs episodes of Stranger Things, is they were saying, like, he just kind of picked, you know, classic rock songs that didn't really, like, have any real, like, tie to the movie or the story itself. It was just like, let's just throw in some songs that people know so they can bob their head to it while the action plays and stuff, right?
Right.
And where, in that regard, it kind of takes you out of the story a bit more.
Yeah, and then it's kind of just like, huh. I'm like, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, but I mean, it's hard, you know? I remember there was a, what was I watching? Oh, Love Actually. They were talking a lot about how they were trying to pick the final song for, like, the airport scene. And the guy was like, God, he's like, I felt like I went through 1,000 records. I could not please the director. I could not find the song.
Really?
You know, that tied everything together. And I couldn't even tell you what the song is. But now it's just like, yeah, that's the song at the end. Like, it's iconic. But couldn't tell you what it is, though.
I can't remember what it is. Now that you think about it, I'm like, what is the song?
Right? And there's some that, like, yeah, like, maybe you don't have to have, like, 100% meaning with everything. But, like, then it just fits well because maybe the scene helps carry the song in a way. Or in vice versa. But, yeah, sometimes, you know, like you said, they kind of just pick, they're like, time to bop. And you're like, yeah,
right.
And
then there's movies like Guardians of the Galaxy where it's like the songs really don't have any tie to the story itself, other than it's tied to Peter Quill himself. It's tied to Star-Lord, right? So again, there's still that attachment in some ways. It's not just like, I just flipped through my my records here and picked one of my favorite songs, and this is the song that I just always wanted to put this in a movie kind of thing, so I just threw it in here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What was my thought? How about we go with who is your favorite character in Stranger Things?
Ooh, well, I mean,
because I don't have an answer.
Dustin and Steve have been like my favorites throughout, just because I love the dynamic duo characters. I love when they can kind of like spitball off each other, and there's just like that dynamic, the banter back and forth. Those are the characters I always like. Hopper's really good too. I mean, I could say things about all the characters, but
right.
Yeah, I think definitely Steve and Dustin and Hopper would be my top 3.
Ooh, yeah, Hopper for sure. But gosh, I loved Bob.
Bob was good too.
That hurt. That was like unnecessary. Like, I know there was the big campaign like justice for Barb, you know, and even watching it is like, oh yeah, goddamn. But like Bob,
his stung when he died. It stung for sure.
Like that hurt. Yeah. And even I was sad when Billy died in season 3. But to be fair, that was more like, I hated Billy in season 2. I was like, get this motherfucker off my screen.
Right?
He's dirty. I hate him. And then literally the last episode when he goes to the Wheelers, he's talking to Karen. He goes, "Oh hey, are you Nancy's sister?" I was just like, what the? And then I was all Team Billy after that.
Right?
Little adultery here and there. I'm like, fuck yeah, Billy.
You're like, I'm in it. I'm sold.
I'm in it to win it, baby.
Yeah. No, I definitely. I was like, okay, well, he's gonna be the dick in this season, so okay, cool, whatever. But yeah, when you kind of got to like understand him a little bit on a deeper level in the 3rd season, he became kind of one of my favorites in that one. And like the actor himself, like great performance. Holy crap.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I enjoy all the character. I know like everyone was, when Joyce was like, well, that was memed pretty hard. But man, does she carry the show in that 1st season? My God.
For sure. And like talk about even her too. Like I know, I don't know if they did it on purpose or whatever, but obviously like part of her character, I guess, she kind of like becomes stronger after everything she experiences in season 1. But like she looked so haggard in season 1, and now she just looks so much younger in these other seasons.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, because I mean,
Winona Ryder.
Thank you. Apparently my mouth box can't work. I don't think I was kind of cruising IMDb, but she really hadn't done anything in quite a while.
Yeah.
So like Stranger Things was like this weird resurgence for her, but like 100% deserved.
Totally.
But then it kind of made it funny in season 4 when she was like, I think when she gets the parcel from Russia, she goes, I think it was Hopper trying to send something, and then Bald Eagle is like doubting her. And remember, they're like, honestly, if I was Joyce, I'd be like, why are you motherfuckers doubting me?
Right?
Have I not been wrong these last couple years? Like, fuck off.
Right?
You listen to me. Like, geez Louise.
Yeah,
Cheese
exactly.
whiz on a stick. Like, my God. What was my thought? What is your favorite season of Stranger Things? Minus this new one, obviously, because it's not completed.
Yeah. Oh, man, that's tough. I mean, season 1, I don't know, like there's different things I can say about all the seasons. I love the whole show in itself.
Easy
just like
for
when I first stumbled upon it, I was like, this is what I need right now. Like this is like everything I love all in one show. Like, and being that at the time, and I mean, it's still kind of happening today too, is like, I was starting to really like get concerned to like the quality of horror films and just action films, like action adventure type films that were being produced. I'm like, man, they're not hitting it. Like they're kind of falling short for me. I'm like, I'm like, why can't we have movies like they used to do, sort of thing, right? So it was awesome that this came out when it did, and still to this day, like I feel like this season has kind of taken more of like the horror realm, horror vibes,
especially this season. For
totally
sure.
And it's like perfect. I'm like, yes, this is the horror I live for. This is the horror I want to see. Like there's so many movies nowadays that are just, it's like their only goal is jump scare. What's the coolest jump scare we can make? Where that's fun sometimes if you want to, if that's the type of movie you want to see. But like, I like the building the suspense and like the creepiness of the story, and then letting my imagination kind of run wild with it. That's where real fear comes for me, because then it's just like, ooh, like you're really creeped out, and less like,
Yeah.
ah, okay, ah, okay, ah. Like it's like there's a jump scare after jump scare in some of these movies, and you're like, all right, I'd like to breathe now. Like I just want to watch the story. I'm tired of getting scared now. Like yeah, so
Right.
But back to the question. Yeah, season 1, I mean, will always be so good, but I think season 3 stands out for me just because I really liked the vibe that they did with the mall. They really brought that kind of like 80s Fast Times at Ridgemont High vibe, and I thought that was cool.
I was like, easily for me, it's season 3.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think just because, like, for me, because like I said, I was trying to take notes, you know, for memory and try to coming up with funny jokes. But for season 1, so like obviously I had my phone out, but I would make a note and then put my phone down right away and try not to like look at it. And season 1, I was engaged the whole time. Season 2 for me, like I dip in and out. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the pacing of it.
Yeah.
I just find that one a little slower.
Yeah. I agree. I find it slow up until Steve gets together with the kids, and then the action really picks up because again the dynamic between him and the kids is really good. But yeah, I agree.
But I think 3, yeah. I love I think it does also a good balance with like humor and horror, because oh my god, the mind flare destroying the mall, I can't remember if they were being chased at that point when they're in the car, they're trying to escape the mall, and Dusty Bunny has to sing Never Ending Story, and everyone's in the car like
just like where did this come from?
Like it was so funny, and I was like sorry, too many words. Like I said, we were rewatching it, but then my brother actually joined me because he had only watched the first 3 episodes of season 1.
Oh, yeah.
So I literally watched the first episode, and he's like, oh, you're watching Stranger Things? I was like, oh, yeah, the new season comes out next week. And he goes, you know what? Maybe I'll join you.
Nice.
And, like, that's been fun. So when that scene came, we were both howling. It's so funny. So I think for me, season 3, top tier. Then 1, and then 2. But again, it's like a Pixar film, you know? Even their worst isn't really that bad. You know what I mean?
There's something to love about every one of them. For sure.
Oh, yeah. But man, season 3. But I mean, they also did that whole thing at the Stampede, or they had this, like, they decked out a ride in Stranger Things, and they even had, like, clues to that season. You just didn't know it yet, kind of scattered around the park.
Yeah.
So maybe that also, and I think that's also when not when I came in, but like I had first watched season 1 and 2, but season 1 and 2 had already been out. I don't think they even had announced that they started filming season 3. So I obviously binged the first 2 seasons, loved it. And then when they were like, oh, season 3 is coming, then I was like, yes!
Yeah.
You know, like that's when I was there, ready for the action. I'm like, yes, I'm here! I'm not left behind now. I'm fucking ready. I mean, that's always something I loved about Stranger. To be fair, I was we've told this before. I was turned off because I was like, what do you mean horror? No bueno. Tap me out, motherfuckers.
No, thank you. Yeah.
You know, but I'm glad I gave it a try. It was very good. Yep. Like, damn, I'm always down for a mystery. Like, I'll even say I watched the first season of Riverdale because there was a mystery. Like, sign me up. There's a mystery, sign me up.
Hell yeah.
Even if it's bad, sign me up. Maybe not sign me up for that one. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Right? I kind of like, too, that, like, there is an element of, like, Scooby-Doo and, like, Nancy Drew with, like, the kids in the house and stuff like that. Like, it is, like, in this season, it kind of gives me a little bit of that vibe. And, I like it.
And I mean, they were also recalling that reference to Nancy Wheeler in season 3.
Yeah.
Which, again, I was so happy that the monster killed those reporter guys.
Oh, right.
Especially the blonde. Again, my unhealthy obsession. I was like, monster, can you please kill these people for me? Like, thanks. I don't want to fucking see them. Pretty much. But there was that office scene with the boss, like after he'd been corrupted. And yeah, I think I made a note of it because it was just so unsettling. And all they
with the
did
Dutch
was
angle
just,
and everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say all they did was just angle the camera, nothing else.
Yep,
that's all they did.
Yep,
and it was just so uncomfortable, intense. I mean, they also did some very close-up shots, but even just like the slight angle,
Yeah.
Like, changes it all together. It was so good.
Totally.
And then, yeah, I was trying to make notes of all the references they had to, like, you know, other horror movies and stuff. And that was obviously, like, a fun game to play. We're like, oh, hey, I noticed this thing this time.
Right?
You could definitely see how much passion they put into it.
Totally. And I mean, I think we've probably talked about this before on the podcast too, but like the Duffer Brothers were huge like Stephen King fans and obviously fans of the 80s because that's, you know, in the era they grew up. So when they were rejected to direct the It film, this is what they made instead. So
oh wow.
Yeah, so if they hadn't like if they had been accepted to do the It film, like Stranger Things would have never existed.
That's crazy.
Right?
There'd be no egos. Oh, yeah, that was like... I remember because I didn't watch Stranger Things, but that year for Halloween, everyone dressed up as 11.
Yep.
That scene where she gets the egos and the pink dress and the blue jacket.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the actual fuck, people? Because I had no idea what it was from. I was just like, you guys are crazy.
I will make the note that when I was watching... this season and when they kind of first introduced the Vecna character, I'm like I'm getting like some real strong like Nightmare on Elm Street vibes from this season.
Me and my brother, we called, well, especially because like he has the one hand that's like bigger than the other, so it's not quite a glove, but
even just like the clock and the sound it makes and stuff like that, like it's very like original like 90s film It, like with the sounds and stuff, and very Nightmare on Elm Street kind of esque. So then when Robert Englund I think is how you pronounce his name, when he is they make his cameo with he's Victor Creel.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, that's Freddy Krueger. So I was like, yes, that's awesome that they brought him in there for a cameo.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call a line from Steve. Why is the monster so obsessed with clocks? Is he a clockmaker? God damn.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that because Nancy was teasing him a lot in season 1 with being dumb. And he dumb.
He dumb.
he dumb.
Right?
But it's hard not to like it. It's hard not to enjoy it.
Right? I think I also too, like, I mean, I always have, but even just more since we've been playing Dead by Daylight, I've like really started to like catch on and just like be so... I just have a lot more appreciation for like the set deck of everything.
I was
just
gonna
because
say
of how often we played like the Hawkins Lab map on Dead by Daylight and the characters and just like how they interact and everything. I'm like, damn, like they really did a great job like creating that for the game, and just I'm
so sad that for whatever licensing reason they had to get rid of it, but I think it was the shot in season 2 where they kind of slowly pulled out and it's first revealed that the portal is still there. Immediately I was like, oh my god, that's the thing that that's the wow. Damn, like they did, like you're right, they did a phenomenal job of recreating that in the game. And again, I was getting very nostalgic because of all of Steve's outfits that they had in the game too. I was like, wow. I was like, Dead by Daylight.
You're like, there it is. Yeah.
I'm like, hot dang. And again, even Nancy's iconic look. So I was like, damn, that's
totally.
Like, I know the game didn't come first, but it's just like, yeah, I was at Dead by Daylight. Yeah.
It's just they go hand in hand. Like you can appreciate both really well. And like, I mean, shout out to Dead by Daylight creators. I don't know if it's some magical part of the universe you're allowed to like renew that license for Stranger Things, this would be the perfect opportunity, because some of the backdrops of this season I can just see it in Dead by Daylight, and I'm like, ooh, I would totally play it. Yeah. And like Steve's outfits and like Nancy's outfits, like doing some updated. And I mean, Elle is technically older. I mean, well, all the characters are, but like I could see them introducing Elle as a character in Dead by Daylight now too. Like that'd be kind of cool.
That would be dope. But I didn't know this until I was trying to not watch too many, but I was watching a lot of Stranger Things videos because obviously when the new season came out this Friday, there was obviously the press circuit, so there was a lot of YouTube videos of like interviewing the cast and stuff. But I can't remember. It was in one of the interviews. I cannot remember which one. Oh, it was they were doing Reddit theories. Like breaking down like fan theories. And someone made the theory about Nancy and Robin bonding, because I guess I didn't know this, there was a Stranger Things book, but it's not under like the realm of the Duffer Brothers, I guess.
Oh, it's like the unofficial.
Yeah, at least that's what the actress who plays Robin was talking about, because I guess she's either read it or she knows of it. And I guess in that book it talks about a lot how she did have a relationship with Barb.
Oh.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, even in this season, obviously, they are bonding. They're having some girl time, which is good, because Nancy needs a girlfriend. You know, after losing Barb, she's been stuck with these smelly boys.
Right?
Stuck with these smelly boys.
We need some girl power.
Although, it does now make a little bit more sense to me now, just because there's that whole theme of music being able to kind of break this. They call it a spell, but yeah, it's like the trance. And I remember specifically in the trailer when they were playing that Journey song, which is baller, by the way. They were in the Upside Down, and somebody was riffing on a guitar. And I just remember that stuck out to me because I just thought that was so weird, because like none of the characters, you know, are like that. So I was like, huh. So now, like, well, now that I'm a little more ahead of you, you know, I can see maybe where this might play in, maybe in the grand scheme of things.
Okay.
So I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Nice.
But Eddie, he's misunderstood.
Yes.
I will agree with my brother. He did not do himself any favors by picking fights in the lunchroom. But he's an okay guy.
He's an okay guy, yep.
He's an okay guy so far. Although, God, Blondie McBarbie face, my God. The second he came on screen, I was like, homeboy's 30. You can't, like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, I get that no one plays the correct age of high school kids, but fuck right off.
Right?
He is only 28, because I had to look it up, but Jesus Murphy. So, again, kind of like you said, very Freddy Krueger vibes. So I do wonder how much of that is going to influence the story, because obviously a big thing of this season as well is the fact that there was this kind of like demonization of like Dungeons and Dragons, you know, and people who were different, you know, and believing there were cults. I remember John Tron did a video, and it was literally like, if you play D&D, you are worshiping Satan, you're a drug addict, you're a sex fiend, you know, and that theme's kind of coming up this season, and especially with Blonde Ken Barbie Man, he is very, you know, Christian good boy. Yeah. Christian good boy. But you saw poor Patrick got claimed. Yes. By Ventnus Curse, which is witnessed by Barbie doll. Yeah. And unfortunately, poor Eddie, once again, because he had to watch poor Veronica die. Yeah. You know, definitely feel bad for that.
Yeah, he gets the blame put on him.
Right. And so that's going to be, it's bigger again in the next episode. There's going to be a lot of witch hunts happening. Ooh. So, and again, I didn't really watch Freddy Krueger, but I don't recall there being a witch hunt particular. I think this is just more obviously pulling inspiration from the real world with the whole Dungeons and Dragons thing. Because for a time that was a thing, which kind of just seems silly now, because you're just like, it's just a bunch of people role playing downstairs, right? Yeah. Cheetos.
But in the 80s, there were like, that was a big thing. I mean, the movie obviously that calls to mind for sure is like Footloose, where, you know, there's the whole like, oh, it's a really Christian town, nobody dances here, like dancing is Satan's thing, you know, like that was the whole kind of like underlying theme. But in the 80s, there was a big thing of like Christian families. They were like, oh, rock and roll is the devil's music and all that kind of stuff. So that I guess that's kind of where they're playing that theme into that. So yeah.
And I mean, it's so good too, because then like when Patrick gets infected too, like you don't have to even show the entire process. You just have to show the snippets to know like, oh shit.
Oh yeah, exactly.
He's coming. And I was really worried Max was gonna die.
Yeah, right? Me too.
I was like, I think it's gonna happen. I think they're gonna kill somebody.
Episode 4 was quite intense, like with her like running and all that kind of stuff. Like it was very intense. After it ended, I was like, whew, I need a breather.
Right? That was, and I mean, obviously, like, because they are in high school now. There's also, I don't know why the Duffer Brothers want us to relive our shitty high school times. Like, we don't need to. Thank you. No thanks. Like, let's close that book. Let's not pretend anything embarrassing happened in high school or any other time. Like, let's just leave it behind. But, you know, as you get older, you know, depression and all those fun things, you know. So obviously, very much a metaphor playing into this next season.
I really liked too, like if there was one scene that kind of like stood out so far, at least to me this season. The scene where Lucas is kind of deterring the group, like the Barbie man jock guy and his group.
Oh yeah.
And then he ends up steering them into Hopper's cabin instead of like where Eddie actually is. And there's that moment where they're like, check the back, and like it just all of a sudden it's like slow motion, and Lucas is like, now's my chance, and he just books it out the back, and you just see him like running as fast as he can in slow motion.
And he also jumps all the stairs.
Yeah,
he took one leap.
Yeah, just takes one leap. Yeah.
Right? And that was also hard. That was also a hard scene to watch, but like that's also part of growing up.
But also like I was like, yes, like because the whole time they're kind of making it seem like, oh, is he gonna rat them out? Like, has he changed? And it was like, yes, thank God, Lucas, you're still the same guy. Changed. Like, yeah,
right. But I mean, that was like a sad time when they were like, he's like, oh, can you please? He's like, come to my basketball game, you know? And that hard part about growing up where you do kind of have separate interests and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was definitely really nervous. I was like, Lucas, don't you turn to the dark side.
Right.
They beat up Chubs in that band. Don't be a dick. Don't be a dick.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, we've talked about, the Duffer Brothers pulling inspiration from horror and like, just kind of 80s culture in general, the Back to the Future scene,
Mm-hmm.
But like, I do wonder about the Upside Down, how much they thought of some of this ahead of time.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Maybe this was their whole entire grand plan the entire time. But there's like a couple times where I was like, that don't make much sense to me. And to be fair, it's very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I will praise them the fact that they did kind of make their own monsters, but in a way, which I think is kind of cool. Like I was thinking about it a lot today. How they got names like Demogorgon from like D&D and stuff like that, and the Mind Flare.
Yeah.
But essentially these are unknown creatures to them.
Yeah.
So like it's hard to like how do you name something like that?
Yeah.
So like rooting in this like childhood thing, or something that they could like make an equivalation to into like what they perceive in the real world, I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
But I got a lot of questions about the Upside Down. I got a lot of questions, okay? Like, season 1, I mean, pretty simple. You got your Demogorgon time portal.
Yeah.
It's all cool. It's all great. Then season 2 rolls around. They're like, oh, we have these, like, Demodogs. And you're like...
And the shadow monster, yeah.
Right? I'm like, okay, you still have me because essentially, yes, the gate still technically had not been closed.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the scene where they come down the elevator and it's like bled down the factory and it's like infecting. I was I was on board with,
Yep.
Everything's cool. And then she locks it forever, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
But no, because season 3 happens and I guess it kind of reopens because the Russians are dealing with it.
Yeah.
I also liked how they pulled it off from Terminator for them.
Right? Yeah.
Like, the main villain reminded me so much of the T2 version in Terminator 2, even though that one hadn't technically come out yet. But,
yes.
Terminator had come out at that point, so drawing inspiration. But, and then season 3, like the Russians are opening it up. And so I guess the Mind Flayer's black, but essentially we're doing the exact same thing we did in season 2 and, like, shutting the portal to cut the mind from the body, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, essentially doing the same thing in season 2, but okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But now we're on to 4. And again, I do enjoy, like, this idea of, like, something that's not there killing you.
Yeah.
So essentially he doesn't have to leave the Upside Down. He can just murder you with just a thought, I guess.
Yeah.
Just latching onto your thoughts and just feeding onto it until he can just... and then you crack all your bones, you're like, and all that fun jazz. But it's like, I got some questions, okay? And then of course now they're trying to link this back to these murders that happened in like the 1950s, early 1960s.
Mm-hmm.
And I just have a lot of questions about the inconsistency of this. Maybe I'm just being nitpicky, but I'm also just like,
Well, I mean, like there's still more of the show to go, so maybe it'll all be explained.
Yes,
but I do think some of it also is just pure reference to 80s stuff. Because, like, for me, like, the Demogorgon was... I know it wasn't technically an 80s movie, but Demogorgon to me is like Jurassic Park. He's this very, like, raptor... T-Rex kind of like character sort of thing, right? Then season 2, we've got this shadow monster, which kind of shows a lot of similar characteristics to Alien. So that was my kind of like inspiration to that. And then same thing with season 3. We kind of got like a little bit of Alien.
Oh, the
there's
body
a lot
snatchers.
of like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, very much like
damn.
The Thing, like John Carpenter's The Thing, like all that kind of stuff. And now it's like very Freddy Krueger, Hellraiser kind of like characters. Yeah, so
right, again, which is all very cool. I just
Yeah.
have some questions about this inconsistency of how the Upside Down works, and yeah. And again, I obviously know that there's no conflict, there's no point in making a season, but it's like, eh. And I think maybe more of my bigger nitpick has to do with the experiments.
Yes.
Because in season 2, there's that infamous episode that I do truly hate. It is a waste of my time. Is, you know, Elle's adventure to New York. Well, it's not to New York City.
Oh,
but,
to
you
Chicago,
know, Elle's big trip out in the city.
Yeah.
You know? I get that the theme of it was supposed to be her finding her home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for the longest time, she never had a home. And, like, her, you know, relationship with Hopper and how, like, that's developing, you know?
Yeah.
But she goes off to find Mama and learns about how she has a sister, you know?
Yeah.
At number 8, you know?
Kind of dials more into her origin story.
Yeah, that I just didn't care about.
I know. Yeah.
But also, like, it just seemed like, again, I love season 3, but they also just, like, dipped out of that storyline. They were just like, meh.
Yeah.
And now it's become an even bigger report because, you know, obviously, I think, to be fair though, like when I was watching season 2, there's that first episode where you meet number 8, you know, and then you see her nosebleed, and then you're like, oh shit, she has number 8. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You know, so there was this question. We're like, of course, she's 11. There's obviously 10 more of her or more. Like,
yeah.
this would be so much fun. And then when that episode came, I just didn't give a fucking shit after that.
Yeah.
You know, and now they're kind of answering the question now in season 4 because apparently Elle just fucking killed them all.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for the spoiler, but apparently they just fucking killed them all.
Yep.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, again, talking about like the creative process of like what came first, like what influences these decisions.
Yes.
Like that's one of the things like I'm wondering if that's something that has changed.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Know?
Yep.
Because that just, it's always felt a little out of place.
Mm-hmm.
And even now in this season, it kind of feels slightly out of place. Because again, Brenner just lives.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
So
yeah,
that's like one of the things where I'm like,
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, it's like how much of this is, you know, like maybe they were like, oh, like we're seeing that episode really didn't resonate with a lot of people. A lot of people kind of dipped off. That wasn't their favorite. So maybe we should like, you know, kind of readjust and like take a different route here sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, on its own, standalone, that episode, as much as like being where the story was going in season 2, you were like, okay, yeah, I see where we're at. This pace is great. Okay, wait, all of a sudden now we're in the city. Like, no, I will get back to the action. Like, get back to the action, right?
And
But,
honestly,
like,
that might have been part of it too.
Yeah.
Because we're like, shit, a Hopper and them. Can we get back to that? And they're
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly, right?
Elle in the big city.
Elle in the big city, yeah. But like
Teaming
that
up with her
episode alone,
sister.
like standalone, it's very like Blade Runner, like all the like the characters that they use in that. It's very like reminiscent of like Terminator, Blade Runner type, you know, the thugs in the city kind of thing, right? So I still did appreciate and enjoy it for that. But yes, as far as like story wise in Elle's origin stories, it's kind of like, where are we going with this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was my thought? I know you said you were gonna try to watch the Beyond Stranger Things volume.
Yeah.
I am a little sad they only did it for season 2. And I guess
Yeah.
/1. So I am hoping maybe after volume 2 comes out of Stranger Things, maybe they'll do an updated one. Because I
hope
am
so,
genuinely
too.
Curious. It's like how,
Right?
like how did you, and again, talking about the Upside Down, how it seems to like fluctuate a lot.
Mhm.
I am curious, like, because I mean, like I said, from season 1 to 2, it makes sense because the gate is still open. So there is an unanswered question. So it makes sense going into the next season.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, I love season 3, but again, you know, obviously they're playing a lot with like the Cold War. No, you know, this fear of the Russians, you know, fear
Yeah.
of communism. So that makes sense,
Mhm.
you know, and you know, it is kind of true when Will was like, oh, like, maybe we locked the monster out here with us. And essentially when the Russians started messing around, being like, oh, maybe we too can open the gate, that's when it gains powers and starts body snatching people. Oh, it's just the worst.
Yeah.
But again, now we're into season 4 where I'm like, I mean, in the one episode, Steve makes that point. He's like, why is it back all of a sudden? Why did it start killing? And I was like, cool, we're asking the right questions, but are they gonna get answered?
Yeah, exactly.
Nope, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, again, I know it's like very minor nitpicks, but
it is, you're right, it is a kind of question that's been in the back of everybody's minds since season 1, because no one really truly knows what this upside down is, where these creatures are coming from, this other dimension. Like, is it, you know, is it alien? Is it just that we're supposed to accept that it exists somewhere? It's kind of like, you know, there's the supernatural veil, or there's, you know, like, so is this what we're just supposed to accept, that this is what's beneath our feet kind of thing, right? And there's just these weird creatures that, you know, were birthed from the minds of the Duffer Brothers, that, and it's just like, yeah, this is what's here, this is what it is,
right?
There's no other meaning.
Right, one of the fan theories that they'd read on Reddit was saying that maybe the Upside Down is the future.
Oh.
Right?
Yes.
But I do think it's probably just a monsters live in one reality and stuff, which again is fine, but I think in the rules of anything kind of fantasy-esque related, it has to make sense. It sounds weird that it's like, even within a fantasy, you kind of have to follow a set of rules.
Yeah.
Now, whether you create, obviously, you have to kind of create those rules for yourselves, right? But that's what usually, obviously, then fans appreciate and then will stick around for, because you have these they're not really invisible rules, but they're rules for the show, you know, or in any kind of, not really, let's scrap show, more for like world building.
Yes.
Like, anytime you create a monster or a ghost story or anything, you kind of have to create a set of rules to kind of make things, like, flow. Yeah,
like, you want your audience to be immersed in the world enough to make it feel real to them, or just make sense in a way. Yeah. Right. And so when you don't really, when you start breaking those rules or not really explaining why this is the way it is, it kind of gets a little difficult. Yes. Again, though, like, I've always enjoyed the journey of Stranger Things, but again, just after rewatching it more, it is just more questions I have. Yeah. But I think it's important to ask those questions. Yes. True. Because obviously, as I just brought up, they have a weird cult thing, you know, and if they asked a question, they'd realize, oh, it's just a bunch of smelly nerds. You know, as Erica said in town meeting, that's just a group of nerds. Yeah, right? Although, yeah, who knows? But like we said, there's more show to watch, so maybe they will tie in and explain all those things. But initially the show started as a love letter to the 80s and all things Stephen King and 80s and stuff like that. So maybe that's just what the Duffer Brothers want to continue doing with it, and they just, you know, they don't really want to expand else further than just this is what it is. Who knows, right? Yeah. But yeah, so I do, again, that's why I asked the question of, like, creativity, because I do wonder how much did Netflix push them to be like, hey, give us more. Yes. Or, you know, maybe this was the Duffers' plan all along. Yeah. Or, again, experimenting with season 2, realizing that didn't work, did they then decide, you know what, we're not going to include more of that in season... Sorry, Mike. Include that in season 3, and maybe tweak it to work out better. Yeah, in the show. True. These are all the questions, and again, maybe the average viewer does not give two fucking shits. Yeah, they're just like, sign me up. Who's kissing this episode? Anyone kissing this episode? Anybody kissing anybody? Right. What are your... Okay, I mean, obviously we don't want to start, like, having expectations for the future, but, like, what is something you're hoping for in the future of the show? Ooh, for the future of the show. Or at least for what's left of, like, the story. Like, what are you hoping to see? Obviously, I want to know how this mystery ties into everything. Mm-hmm. You know?
Obviously, a big thing with 11 right now is she's like, am I a monster or I'm a hero? So, I was even, because I know a lot of people on the internet have been theorizing that somebody's going to die from the main cast. But, like, at the same time, if she died heroically,
Right?
you know, because in a way, like, obviously she didn't create the Upside Down, but she opened it up, right? So it would be interesting if somehow she is able to close it.
Yeah. Well, and that was the nice thing about season 1 too, is that was kind of like a heroic death for her until it was like, wait, she's not dead. But
Which wasn't, again, really explained. I guess she went to the Upside Down.
Somehow she pushed it back into the Upside Down somehow or something.
So hard, right? Again, questions I have.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I want Nancy to be a baller. I don't really care if she's with Jonathan or Steve.
Yeah.
Cause, yeah.
Maybe she and Robin will end up together.
Yeah. I just want happiness for all the characters, I guess. Whether that is they find a partner or not. Which was something they actually did in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which I was actually very impressed with. Our own badass Rosadia, she was like, you know what? I don't need anybody. Or no. She said it so well in the show, and I'm just going to shit all over it here. But she said that, like, her happiness is not determined, or her value as a person is not determined whether or not she's in a relationship or not. So.
Yes, I like that.
Because, like I said, like, I don't, like, I don't know if Will's really going to end up with anybody, you know? But, like, I just want all the characters to find some sort of happiness, I guess.
I like that, yeah.
You know, whether it is with somebody else or not.
Yeah.
But.
I think that'd be kind of refreshing, too. Like, I know they're playing very heavy, obviously, into the 80s themes and stories and stuff like that. But that was always, like, that's always been such a huge thing in movies in the last how many years, where it's like, oh, and they all lived happily ever after. They rode off into the sunset, you know, together with their partner and stuff like that. So it would be kind of refreshing to see some of them just, like, embrace who they are and be happy even if they don't find love, kind of thing, right? Yeah.
They find the love within themselves and the people around them.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd also be kind of cool if they did, like, an epilogue.
Yeah.
And if they had, like, either they CGI themselves to be older, or maybe you see them either starting off to have kids, or maybe they rebuild Hawkins together after all of this, you know, the whole thing, the town has been cursed. Maybe they rebuild it in some way.
Yeah.
That could be pretty cool.
That could be cool.
Really, I just want to see Eddie shredding the guitar now in the Upside Down. So that's kind of what I'm that's kind of what I'm you know, that's kind of what I'm focused on right now.
Nice.
But yeah, I guess that was all my jumble thoughts about everything. But what about yourself?
I agree. No, I think I'm pretty much the same. I would love to see you know, Joyce and Hopper reunite, whether that leads to something or not. I'd love to see what happens with Will, if he confesses feelings for Mike, or if it's just he's trying to open up and come out to somebody that he trusts.
Maybe, yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm over Elle and Mike. So I don't really care what happens with them.
Agreed.
I'd love to see, you know, Elle kind of like, I mean, now that you've pointed it out, it'd be kind of interesting to see this, like, heroic death, if that's what happens. That was the next question I was going to ask you before we wrapped up, is who are you worried, other than Max, because we already mentioned it, but who are you worried for if they're if there's somebody who's going to die this season? Because obviously we've had Bob, unfortunately, we've had Barb. Bob definitely kind of like pulled more on the heartstrings for us, at least. So and Billy too even was kind of sad. So who's that person this season? They've kind of like shown Max, but we've able to you know, just keep her around so far. So who do you think is going to be that character this season?
I think everyone's safe because no one starts with the letter B.
True. Yes.
A lot of people, again, sorry, I pulling out from the videos when they were doing things on Reddit, a lot of people were worried that Nancy was gonna die. And then I immediately was like, no. No. Honestly, I'm just worried for anybody who's gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, I hope the trio, like, stays the trio, but, you know, maybe one of them dies. Like,
yeah.
You know, it's tough. I think I'm worried for any character who's gonna die.
Yeah.
Even if Argo dies, I might be upset too. who we never
Yeah,
touched on.
true.
But Pothead Argo, if he died, I'd be pretty upset too.
I'd be upset. Yeah.
Goddamn.
Yeah. I guess all in all, final thoughts. I was worried because I guess it's just been my brain lately. I've been slowly disappointed by a lot of like shows and movies as to where the storyline's going. I think a lot of that has more to do with the production side of things and less to do with like the creativity side. So I guess that my worry, there was just kind of like this underlying fear that like this was going to happen with this too.
Yeah.
I try not to, but it's hard, when you're let down so many times, you're just like, oh man. But I've been really impressed with this season so far, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, like I said, I enjoy the baddie of Vecna. Think he's cool. Again, I'm just worried they're sucking that cow titty so hard. But yeah, and again, as we were talking about questions, how is there a Demogorgon in Russia? Does anyone want to tell me how that plays in?
Right?
But yeah. Again, just can't be too over the top expectations. Just sit down and enjoy the show, and then we will recuperate and talk again.
Yeah.
But I think that'll do it for today's episode. But like I said, we really didn't touch on there was a lot to talk about. So we didn't really have time to touch on everything. Is there anything you thought we left out? Let us know in those fun comments down below. Please like the video because it's going to be a monster of the video, and Kendra's going to work real hard to do it. Real hard. And we would appreciate a subscribe because we work very hard on these episodes, and we really hope you enjoy them too.
Hell yeah.
But obviously this won't be the last. As we just stated, we have not watched the final episode, neither one of us. So there will be another update, especially if part 2 is coming. Well, part 2 is coming out in July, so there will be another part. But until next time, keep watching all the content, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Monkey.
And...
Slap.
Pew.